Hey there, my name is Clark from Little Robot, and I'm going to show you how to make better buttons with Bubble. So usually there's two different types of buttons that people will use, and so there's the default Bubble button, but the problem here is that you can't add an icon to it unless you use like a plugin. A good one actually is the Hero Icons plugin, I recommend you check it out. And then there's a group with text and an image for the icon. The problem with this is that the icon doesn't change color with the text. And then there's this one where we can get the icon to change color with the text. So let's go over how to build this third option here. So back in Bubble, we'll do this in a reusable element so we can just grab it like we could a button. We'll call it button sparkle. All right, so a couple quick things here. Yeah, row is fine. Give us a bit more space. Throw in our group. Button, wrapper. Sure. Make it row. We won't do anything with the width for now. For the height, let's make it 44 pixels. Center that. Around those corners. Give it a border. Let's say D0D, 5DD. Great. And let's give it a background of white. Okay, I think we're good to go for the container. Let's throw our text in there. Make this a bit nicer. Perfect. Center that. And center it here. Let's make the style a bit nicer. Semi-bold is fine. 14 is fine. Let's make this a nicer gray. Great. Button CTA. Awesome. Now we can make this hug the, oh, not fixed width. Let's fit to content. And let's give it a nice amount of padding. And now we have a more responsive button. Perfect. Now for the icon here, we're actually going to use an HTML element. We'll see why in a second here. So let's just leave this as is and go check out a tool called the Reloom Icon Library. Reloom is awesome. They're mostly for Webflow projects, but it works great on Bubble too. And then let's grab an icon from Untitled UI. So in Figma, you can copy icons as SVG. That's what I'm going to do here. And then I can paste it right in here, and then it formats the code just how we need it. So I'm going to copy this formatted version, and then back in the Bubble editor, I can paste that here, and then we see our happy face show up. We're not going to see him for long though, because we're going to scale this back down to 24 pixels. Great. And we'll give this guy some margin to the right. And we're not using a gap on the container because we're going to add one more element in here. But before that, I'm going to call this, I'm going to give this button wrapper a class. So let's say, or an ID. Let's just call it button, let's call it button sparkle. Sure. Oh, and if you need to get an ID to show up in your groups, you can just go down to general, and then at the very bottom, you can check expose the option to add an ID attribute. Check that, and that option will show up for you. Awesome. All right, let's make a few conditionals here. So when this group is hovered, let's change the background color and also the border color. And let's go with this one here, teal. I'll get the border to match. have a border right now? Yeah, we do. Awesome. And then when our button wrapper is hovered, then our font color can be white. Our font color can be white. There we go. And then if you want to take your transitions one step further, you can add these options here. Linear is fine. So we're going to do background style and also border, color, linear is great. All right, let's go add this to our index page and see how it's looking so far. So we have our bubble or our button. Let's make it nicer and centered. And if we go over to our page, here's our button. So this is acting just like the second one right now. So we need to get the color of the icon to change. Let's go do that. So back in our reusable element, we're actually going to add one more HTML. Actually, you know what? Let's do it all in the same one. Keep it simple. So I'm going to throw some style tags in here. And then we want to grab our container. I think it was button sparkle. Great. Oh. And now let's take a look at this really quick. So if you look at the SVG here and the stroke, our color is actually current color, which is a cool thing to do with SVGs. It's going to make the color of this SVG whatever the font color is of its parent. So we can just say the color is going to be, what's it going to be? This by default. So we can save that. I'm going to copy all of this. And then in the condition where our reusable element is hovered, we can change the HTML and color to be white. All right, let's see if that worked. I also want to see, yeah, let's change this to the reusable element as well. That'll be a bit better. Okay, back here, and there we go. Our icon is changing color with the text. There's some stuff that you can play around with the timing of the transitions, but that's how you build a button to make the icon match the color of the text. And now, if you ever wanted to change this, all you'd have to do is make sure that the condition here, this color, matches the color of this text. And that's it. Thanks.